Closer. The room smells like candles and wood polish and something floral that is almost too sweet. There is quiet music playing from somewhere, the kind that is designed to make people feel something without demanding too much. A few people are already crying. A few are looking at their phones. Most are doing that thing humans do at funerals, sitting very still and staring at a point slightly above eye level as if looking directly at reality would be too much. Your family is in the front row. You have seen them grieve before, small griefs, the kind that pass. This is different, and you know it the moment you see them. There is something in the way your mother is sitting, very upright, very controlled, like she has decided that falling apart is something she will do later in private. And watching her hold herself together like that is the strangest thing you have ever seen, because you know exactly what it costs her. The person who stands up to speak first is not who you expected. They are nervous. You can tell because they keep touching the paper in their hands even though they are not reading from it. They talk about a memory you had completely forgotten. A Tuesday afternoon, years ago, a small moment that meant nothing to you at the time, a joke you made or a thing you did without thinking. And this person held on to it. They carried it all this way. They are standing in front of everyone you ever knew and offering it back to you now, and you cannot say a single word. This is the thing about funerals that nobody warns you about. Not the grief, not the loss, the version of you that gets spoken about. Every person in this room carries a different one. Your mother's version, your oldest friend's version, the colleague who saw you every day for 6 years and knew one specific slice of who you were. The neighbor who only ever saw you take out the trash and wave from the driveway, but who came anyway, who is sitting in the back row and will cry on the way home in the car alone. None of their versions is wrong. None of them is complete. The second speaker is someone who knew you when you were young, before you became whoever it is you became. They talk about a version of you that you recognize but would not have chosen to lead with. A version that was uncertain and a little lost and trying too hard. And the room laughs, softly, warmly, and you realize that version of you was more loved than you understood at the time. You drift toward the back of the room. There is a table covered in photographs. Someone spent time on this, chose each one carefully, printed them out, arranged them in a way that tells a story. You look at the photographs and you see things you do not remember. Not because they did not happen, but because you were not paying attention when they did. You were somewhere else in your head. You were planning, or worrying, or waiting for something better. And meanwhile, your actual life was arranging itself into moments worth printing out and putting on a table. Researcher Bronnie Ware spent years working in palliative care, sitting with people in the last weeks of their lives, and she wrote about the regrets they shared most often. The most common one was not about failure. It was about unlived life, about all the things that got postponed because the conditions were never quite right. You think about that now, standing invisible in the back of your own funeral, looking at photographs of a life that happened faster than it felt like it was happening. The room is filling with sound now. People are starting to talk to each other, quiet conversations in corners. Someone is laughing at something, a real laugh, and it sounds wrong for exactly 1 second, and then it sounds completely right, because that is also how it works. The grief and the warmth running alongside each other, inseparable. Someone is telling a story about you that you have never heard before. It happened when you were not there. Someone you loved did something kind for someone else and mentioned your name as the reason. You did not know that. You will never be able to respond to it. You can only stand here and receive it in this strange silent way, unable to speak, unable to reach out, unable to say that it matters to you more than they will ever know. Psychologist Matthew Lieberman at UCLA has spent decades studying the social brain, the part of human neurology dedicated entirely to other people. His research found that the brain's default mode, what it does when it is not focused on a task, is to think about other people, their feelings, their perspectives, their lives. You are built for connection in a way that runs deeper than choice, and yet most people spend their lives uncertain whether the connections they made were real, whether they mattered, whether they will be remembered. You are getting your answer right now.
The service is ending. People are standing. They are moving toward your family with careful hands and careful words, the gestures humans make when language is not enough. Some of them will stay in touch. Most of them will go back to their lives, and the ordinary distance will settle back in, and time will pass the way time does. But right now, in this room, on this day, every single person here chose to stop and come and sit in a chair and say with their presence what they could not always say with words. You were here. You mattered. People showed up. Philosopher Martin Heidegger wrote about what he called being toward death. The idea that awareness of your own mortality is not something to avoid, but the very thing that can make a life feel real and deliberate and worth living. He believed that most people sleepwalk through their lives because they never truly reckon with the fact that they will end. You are not sleepwalking right now. You are more awake than you have ever been. And the life you are looking at from this impossible angle, the photographs on the table, the people in the rows, the stories being passed quietly from mouth to ear, it was a real life. It was your life. And it turns out, you did not see all of it while you were living it. The room is nearly empty now. The lilies are still there, slightly wilted, the kind that look expensive but were bought in a hurry by someone who wanted to get it right. You are in the room. You can see everything. You just wish you had seen it sooner.